there's a lot of frustrated semi-pro sportsmen who
Yep.
are struggling. And even, to be honest, pro sportsmen, once they, and I find it fascinating, the guys who make it and then retire, but they're not the guys who played 100 tests and become the coaches or become the administrators or become the commentators, the one who kind of finish. They've got that notoriety, but they can't take it further. I've seen ones that they end up being a bit broken because of their bodies, and then they didn't get an education because cricket or sport has been their thing forever. And I think this is the reason why, especially rugby league players, their world is, and their identity is gone.
Their identity is gone. Yep. That's right. And the world quickly moves on, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
They're soon forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. It's unless you're the person who's the immortal or, the person who plays the 100 tests or whatnot, it's amazing the guy who plays 15 tests does
He could
get
be your next door neighbour.
Exactly. And no, that you're 100% right. I guess you've got to enjoy it while you can, but I guess this is the important thing of parents is giving you can have short term, but you need the long term as well. So yeah, I guess you need to learn coping mechanisms for all of life.
Yes.
And without going into it, I don't think, looking back, I'd want to be a professional sportsman. I think the pressure.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to handle it, and I think the mundane life is quite nice. The fact you get to see your family every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being overseas for months on end, and and once again the scrutiny that everyone loves you when you're doing well, but you're only 2 or 3 bad innings away or games, and people are wanting you out. So I think it'd be very challenging.
That's right. I think there's that draw of, the hero that you see on TV in their best moments, and you think, I want to be them.
Yeah. But
when you really stop to think about their life, it's not an easy one.
No, absolutely. I guess it has its pitfalls. Let's say that. Do you put pressure on yourself? When you set your goals, do you? Because I might have had an idea of what your goal was because of Noel told me the night before what your goal was. But are you likely not to tell anyone your goals, so then it's only between you and yourself? Or
I think people do ask you, and you realise that most people don't really care if you achieve your goal or not.
Yeah.
Most people are, happy for you, and if you're upset, they're a bit upset. So often people mirror your feeling towards it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess as humans we do that. You kind of gauge just how you react to how you're going, type of thing. And it's the reason why I ask that is I used to think that what I did was a lot more important than it actually was. But I think that was something I'd internally put pressure on myself to do. But not the interesting aspect was our scores used to get printed in the Courier Mail or the Sunday Mail.
Yeah.
So people would look up your scores, and in lower grades, they'll just put if you've done well, if you've, top run score for that. But in first grade, they'd put the whole scorecard.
Yeah.
And the amount of times people would come up to me, it's oh, you're struggling a bit this season, aren't you? It's oh, thanks for telling me something that I already knew.
Right.
That in a way you start to, and people, in a way they're doing it in a nice way. They were trying to probably show that they were
paying
following
attention
you.
to your career.
But for me, I took it as they're disappointed with me, which looking back, it's totally ridiculous.
They probably weren't.
They weren't.
You could have, told them why you were struggling, and they would have been, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But I think for me, I'm always pretty self-critical. So, and I sometimes miss that aspect when you do well, that there would be a write-up in the paper and those type of things. But I think as much as you enjoyed that, you really didn't enjoy when you weren't doing well. So
that's a fascinating part of sport, though. Often identify with the team or the person you're supporting so much that you feel excited when they win and you're devastated when they lose.
Yeah.
Even when you don't even know the people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, it's funny how you do get, like, I guess it's your favourite player, the ones you get invested in, and the ones that you sit down to watch and you are disappointed if they don't do well. But yeah, and for me, I love sport, but I'm not a fan. Like, because for me, as much as I follow the cricket, I enjoy it to watch, and the aspects of it. But I struggle being a fan, because at the end of the day, playing like against these people, they're not always people to be admired. They're just very good at what they do. So people like, and you always have favourite players. And I think as a kid, you always have a favourite player. I think when you get older, you probably don't tell people who your favourite player is, because they're things which don't matter. But you find other things that are more important. But from a fanatical point of view, it's funny being invested, and I guess people want to have their identity in, I'm a supporter of this team, and when they do well, I do well. But I kind of find that a bit ridiculous, because you didn't really have involvement in the success, even though you can share in it, unless you cheered really well from the sideline or whatnot.
Well, you feel like if you cheer really well in front of the TV, that you've played a part, don't you, sometimes?
Exactly, but I think maybe that's a bit of a boring attitude. Obviously, it is there for entertainment at the end of the day. So I think that's the reason why people like sports. It makes you feel something.
But we probably put too much, probably as a culture.
Yeah, no,
too much into it.
That's right. And we've been, probably as Australia, we're pretty successful at our sports. Well, it depends on which ones you follow, but yeah, we certainly do have a strong sport following. I'm not sure why, but
it's probably where the dream for those kids, they see their parents cheering so hard for these players, these teams, and they look at their parents, if only they would cheer for me like that, right? If only they would show me that devotion. Do you think that's at all an aspect?
I guess if you love your parents, you're gonna embrace what they hold as important. So I think there's something in that, and I think a lot of times you do things in a way like, and the great thing about parents, my parents came to a lot of my sport, and they were your biggest fans. So in a way, even though they'd also sometimes be your biggest critics, or there's something about always looking to get that recognition and praise.
I guess it's often they give you more attention for that than some other things you do.
Yeah, no, that's
a time when they're focused on you, I guess.
No, that's right. And I guess even from an academic point of view, you might get a report card every term, but from a sporting achievement, you have the opportunity to achieve multiple times a week. Like at times I'd play 3 games of cricket a week when you're a kid, so you had 3 opportunities to go, you did well today. So yeah,
I think most kids would do anything to hear their parents say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.